Look at the way they checking me out. They was blind to the fact, but they seeing it now. They told me, hold your horses, dog, you too far from the crown. But from the view of the crowd, I'm going way too fast to ever slow down. That's what they keep on telling me. But why would I do that when I got everything they need? Why I'm everything they wanna be? All you haters can just get your shit and leave, cause no one cares about your music. Just sit back and watch me do it. No one cares about what you doing. Just sit back and watch me do it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm trying to get a little comfortable for y'all because I feel as though I've been wanting to have a conversation about polyamory for quite some time now. So I thought, what better time than when I'm in my comfy gear. As you all see from the title, this conversation is discussing various types of polyamorous relationships. If that's something that you're interested in or maybe curious about, don't forget to stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, as well as hit that notification bell. That way you are notified as to when it is that I upload yet another video, maybe of this sort. Yeah, I think I touched on key things. Let's get into the video. As you all know, I am in a polyamorous relationship, but more specifically, I'm going to, well, I'm not going to be like super specific about it. I'm going to talk about my ideal dynamic and the ins and outs of it in future videos. This particular episode is going to discuss just various types of polyamorous relationships. Now, there are some people out there that will say polyfidelity relationships are the umbrella term, or polyfi relationships are the umbrella term for relationships involving multiple people. I don't agree. In my opinion, polyamory is more broad and what I would consider an umbrella term. So everything that I'm listing or discussing will be a polyamorous dynamic. And just because I don't mention them doesn't mean that they don't exist. These are just some of the more common dynamics that you will find out in the world. One of the reasons why I'm doing this episode is because when it comes to polyamory, it's not one size fits all. When someone tells you they're in a polyamorous relationship, that doesn't mean that they're in the same type of relationship that you or someone else or someone you may even know may be in. Like, the dynamics and the constructs differ. And I want to make that clear. So just because this person has a polyamorous relationship doesn't mean that their relationship mirrors that of someone else's. So what is polyamory? In my own personal definition, I would define it, or others may define it, as a consensual, ethical relationship that involves more than one person. Now, this relationship doesn't have to be sexual, and I want to make that clear. Not all polyamorous relationships benefit all parties sexually. It may also be an emotional relationship, but everyone involved in it or that is aware of it, even though they may not be, in that, I guess, in a relationship with more than one person, they all are aware of it. And that's where the consensual, ethical component comes in, because there's a lot of communication being had and everyone involved in it is essentially in agreement about it. How do I explain this? For those of you that are monogamous, all right, polyamory means more than one love, or able to love more than one person. People typically don't understand that there's also a version of that definition for monogamous people, and that's monamory. Yeah, oh my gosh, like rolling it off my tongue isn't like a nuisance. Monamory, and that's loving one. I think that's like a nice term for you all to know that are monogamous. If you are monogamous and you're not married, then you practice monamory. But once you get married, then you practice monogamy. And the same goes for polyamorous people. Until you are married, you're polyamorous. But once you get married, then, anything you do is essentially polygamy. But then it's not polygamy unless you marry illegally more than one person. Hopefully that didn't confuse you. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using like generic names. That way it easily illustrates the dynamics or the definitions of each term. That way you all are easily able to understand each and be able to associate them when people say or explain their type of dynamic. As I stated before, the terms that I'm going to provide to you all may be different somewhere else, but these are like general colloquials of how people within the community may define it, and they may also have their own made up name. All right, just want to put that out there, but these are general terms, definitions, colloquials of the standard names. So the first dynamic I'm going to explain to you all is polyandry. And that is a relationship in which a woman is in a relationship or situationship, most likely a marriage, with two men. So let's say, using our names, I'm going to go with, like, for the purpose of this video, we're going to have Lawrence, Mike, Erica, and Ashley. Those are the names that we're using. So in this example, Ashley is married to Lawrence and Mike, or she's in a relationship / situationship with Lawrence and Mike. But both of them, like all of them, know about one another. There's no cheating whatsoever. They're all informed. And on the mirroring side of that, you have polygyny. And that's where a man is in a relationship with two women. In that example, we will have Mike, who's in a relationship with Ashley and Erica. Similar to the polyandry example, both of them know, but just because that's how that construct is, it doesn't mean that those parties are sexually or emotionally active with one another. They're just involved with that central person, so that person would be considered like a pivot or a hinge person. And we'll talk about that more in detail in another video. Bigamy, on the other hand, is similar to those two dynamics. The only difference is when someone is a bigamist, they don't tell the other parties that they're in a relationship or marriage, more than likely it's a marriage, with the other people. However, with polygamy, everyone knows. Bigamy is like the opposite, whereas polygamy is, they're aware. Bigamy, they aren't. So the next dynamic we have is a mono-poly relationship or polymono. This is one relationship, another polyamorous relationship in which one person identifies as monogamous and the other person identifies as polyamorous. So there's a lot of communication that's had in that dynamic. And I know you all may have seen the video that I did with Jody discussing our relational dynamic and how in her relationship with the male party, she essentially identifies as monogamous, but she's in a relationship with someone that's polyamorous. All right. So let's say with our people, we have Lawrence, right? Lawrence identifies as monogamous. He is in a committed relationship with Erica, but Erica is in a relationship not only with Lawrence, but also with, let's say, Mike. She's also in a relationship with Mike, but Lawrence knows about her relationship with Mike. Again, he has no involvement with them. There's a lot of those types of relationships within the polyamorous community. So I want to make that clear. The only difference is in that situation, there's a lot of primary partners, and then typically you will see a secondary partner as well. So now we're going to move on to group marriages. In it, you have four-cornered marriages, cluster marriages. There's basically a lot of different types. And with those, there's people who are already married to one another, but then their marriages are also seen across one another. So in this situation, Lawrence would be married to Erica, but Mike would be married to Ashley, and all of them will see each other as a team or unit. And sometimes in a lot of cases, there would be more than just those people involved, but they would all see each other as being married. So I wouldn't necessarily call those quads, because with quad relationships, a lot of times there aren't marriages, but there can be marriages. With quad relationships, you have 4 people, and all 4 of those people are involved with one another. So in this situation, all 4 of our people will be in a relationship with one another. Next, we have cyclic monogamy. This one is like one of my personal favorites. I mean, I behaved in this manner, but it's not the type of relationship I had. So with, it wasn't the type that I had. With this one, you have someone who's in a monogamous relationship with 2 parties. So typically it's based upon where they live, or it's just based upon the type of people that they're in a relationship with. In a cyclic relationship, the person or the polyamorous person is behaving monogamously in it that they're moving from household to household to have monogamous relationships with people. People used to have these type of relationships when they would cheat. So it's like, I guess, the non-marital form of bigamy, essentially. So let's say Lawrence is in a relationship with Ashley and Erica. Lawrence travels and lives with Ashley and Erica as though he has, this monogamous relationship with them. In some cases, they may know, both parties may know, but a lot of times they aren't aware that it's going on, or at least, before social media, they weren't aware. Ashley and Erica will have a committed relationship with him, but everything would be separate. They would live in separate households, separate lives, and so on. So previously, I mentioned cluster marriages or group marriages. We also have group relationships. And for those, we have things such as, like I said, deltas. You have triads. You have menage a trois. On a marital side, you have a mariage a trois, and that's when people are married and they have another party that they sleep with. And a menage a trois is when no one's married and everybody's just sleeping together. But in that situation, let's say you have Erica, who's in a committed relationship with Lawrence and Mike, but all of them sleep together. Okay, everybody. Lawrence and Mike sleep together. Lawrence and Erica sleep together. Erica and Mike sleep together. Or there's like group relations had amongst all of them. And then sometimes, like in some cases, such as the delta, there's more than one person. And I know some people are like, well, isn't this swinging? It's not. We'll go into that another time. Now, moving on to V and or parallel relationships. These 2 areas are, okay, let's just use V because it also explains a parallel relationship or polyamorous relationship. Now, you have a V, right? At the center of the V, you have what would be considered the hinge, right? So the thing that connects the 2 together, it's the hinge. That is what you would call like the primary person of the relationship. These 2 parties don't interact with one another at all. They may also live together. They just don't have any relationship whatsoever. I mean, it's not that they don't get along or anything. They just don't have, I guess, sexual or emotional relationships. There may be a little emotional, but there's no sexual relationship had. The only thing that connects these two people is the hinge person or the pivot person. The same goes for a parallel relationship. So we're going to use Lawrence and Mike and Ashley. All right. So on the ends, we have Lawrence and Mike, who both are in a relationship with Ashley. They don't have any relationship whatsoever. The V doesn't close. It stays open. They don't touch. They only have a relationship or a consensual, knowing relationship with Ashley, though the two know about one another. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and insert this in because I forgot to mention it, but it's a Z relationship. Now that's a relationship in which there's 4 people involved, like, you know, the shape of a Z. Like there's like 4 end points, all right? Hold on, is it like this to y'all or is it like this? Anyway, there's 4 points on a Z. 2 of the points never touch, right? Like they just don't touch at all because they're on the ends or this way, depending on how you're looking at it. I don't know how you're looking at it. I'm gonna put a Z up, okay? So 2 of the points on that Z touch, 2 points don't. So let's say the middle points were, you know what, let's make this interesting. Let's say that Erica has a relationship with Ashley, all right? Erica and Ashley have a relationship with one another. But Ashley is not only just seeing Erica, she's also seeing Mike. Ashley is seeing Mike and Erica, and Erica is seeing Lawrence and Ashley. But the 2 women never sleep with one another's man, and the men never sleep with one another. That's how a Z relationship is comprised. And the last dynamic that I want to focus on is a polyphi relationship. So I mentioned it in the beginning because a lot of people assume that polyfidelity relationships are the complete term for all polyamorous relationships when they aren't. Polyphi relationships have a lot more, there's a lot more restriction to it because the more parties that are involved, the more people have an opportunity to object to something. So everyone in this type of dynamic are free to accept new members or stop people from coming in. So everybody has to be in agreement as to when it's okay to bring people in and when to close off the amount of people that enter that relationship. So there can be like numerous people involved in this relationship. Everyone involved in that dynamic, all are together. So there's like, let's say we had, I have to think of like more names, but we have Lawrence, Mike, Erica, Ashley, Keisha, Justin, and everybody's just, they're all in a relationship together. Let's say Justin wants to invite Morgan into the group. Well, Justin has to get the approval of everybody involved to be able to invite that person in. And if nobody, even if there's one objection, it just doesn't happen. All right. I feel like that was a lot. Hopefully I explained the various types of common polyamorous relationships to you all. Like I said, these are common definitions. There's definitely more out there. People have their own terms as well as to how they like to, where the name they like to give their relationship, but these are common terms that are used. I do want to say, like I said before, it isn't one size fits all. With me giving you all these definitions, it's to better explain polyamorous dynamics. I'm not going into detail as to why people are entertaining these. I'm just putting the information out there for you all to, have more insight as to what it is that a lot of people are involved in more than you know. Like, a lot of people assume monogamy is common, but in all honesty, it isn't. I hate to break your heart, sorry. But yeah, in my next video, I don't know, like, I'm torn as to if I want to explain how to approach a polyamorous relationship. So how to go about, you know, talking to your partner and or partners about having a polyamorous relationship, like the steps you need to take to have that discussion, or if I want to get into the types of people. That's very specific. So the type of people Lawrence, Mike, Keisha, Justin, Erica, and Ashley may be. I think I'm gonna keep using those names because it's gonna be easier for me to explain everything. Anyway, there's the information. You all do as you will with it. And yeah, until next time, I will see you all in my next video. Peace.
So what